Another review for you this afternoon. This time it's Bentley for Men Intense. It's an Eau de Parfum concentration fragrance. It was released in 2013. The nose behind it is Natalie Lorson, and it's categorized as an Oriental Spicy. Plenty of talk about this one over the past year and a half to 2 years. When I first spray this on, it's ambery, spicy, and rummy. And the rum is a spiced rum, very similar to Captain Morgan. So if you're into the alcohol type of boozy fragrances, this is probably a very promising start for you. Also in there's some herbalness to it, and that comes from a sage note. There's also bitters, and I get that from the bay leaf note. So there's a little bit of a green undercurrent going on with this ambery rum and cinnamon combination. So it's a very promising start. After about a half an hour to 45 minutes, it begins to dry down, and you get this benzoin note, and it's a clay-like texture. It has a smoothness to it, but it smells a little earthy. It's still rummy, but it begins to get more hollow. It loses all of those subtle nuances from the sage, and really the bay leaf goes away. So you're left with this slightly spiced rum. And there's also echoes of what I can perceive as an empty Ziploc bag. So it gets this cheapness once you get further and further into the middle of the fragrance. It dries down even further than that, and it becomes a little bit more unpleasant. It maintains that sweet ambery feel from that benzoin. I can also pick up on vetiver in there, and it's not stated in the notes. I know there's a woody note stated in the notes, and I can perceive that as vetiver. And it has a rough texture to it. So if you really enjoyed that opening where it was really smooth and ambery and spicy, you're probably going to be offset or off-put by the rough texture with that vetiver note. It becomes a more hollow fragrance even further into the base. It smells ambery and it smells thin. Natalie Lorson is probably one of the best perfumers in terms of doing more with less. And I think she asked the Bentley executives, can I have a bigger budget for this fragrance? And I think that they just laughed at her and said, we make cars, we don't really make fragrances. So she probably did the best possible job that she could with this. But I feel like I can liken this to smelling a Ziploc bag full of spiced rum on the ground. And when I say on the ground, I don't mean on pavement or on a driveway. I mean on like clay. So if you can kind of imagine what that would smell like, you can probably figure this fragrance out pretty easily. So why does it get so much hype? Well, first of all, it's a relatively inexpensive fragrance, so you're probably going to attract more people to buying it blindly. It's not really a sample type of fragrance. I know you're seeing a sample in front of me, and I used to own a bottle of this, but quickly sold it. So this sample reminds me of what this fragrance smells like and why I sold it when everybody hypes it up and everybody speaks so highly of it. With that crowd buying all of these bottles, you're attracting people that are probably not able to purchase more expensive fragrances. So if they're used to smelling designer fragrances or department store fragrances, I guess would be more specific, this is probably going to smell out of this world to them. But if you smell more and more of what's out there that's not supplied by the May Company stores or Macy's, you're going to realize that this fragrance is not really all that deep and complex as people make it out to be. It's more of an ambery, spicy, slightly woody fragrance with a clay feel, and it tries to be much more than it really is, but it comes up short. The performance on it is very, very good. I get over 12 hours with it, sometimes stretching even to 18, and it's relatively consistent in its projection and its sillage. Bottom line is, if you value performance over quality of smell, then by all means go for it. But because it comes up short in the overall composition, I just cannot recommend it highly as others have. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.